Hello, everybody. This is going to be our stuff for Wednesday. First one we're going to start with is the one that if you take the whole time in getting this to work, that's totally fine. I'll give you some other ideas to look at too, but we're going to be making an electric motor. I just realized I forgot something, so hold on. Okay, I'm back. I got what I needed. We're going to be making an electric motor, and so to kind of give you a sense of this, this is one that's going to take a little bit of careful crafting of this thing. So it's where you'll need this red wire that I put in your kits. That should have been kept in good shape. Really, you probably don't have this around anywhere, so if it's not in there, you can't do this one. I'm happy to get you some materials maybe this weekend if this was lost, but it really should have been kept in this bag and kept free of anything if the vinegar spilled. So this is a special kind of wire. It is a good conductor of electricity because it's made of copper, but it has this really thin layer, this red stuff on the outside. It's like a real thin plastic sleeve that's in it. So it's similar to wires you plug in a cord. You have an outer covering to help keep you from being electrocuted or that electricity to go anywhere besides where it's supposed to go. And this has the same thing, but it's easily removed, and that's going to be important to what we're going to create. So I've already made this, but I'll kind of show the idea behind it. And I'll put in my playlist, I'll also put a video of a very simple demo of this too, so they probably have a little clearer picture of it, but you can get the idea of what you're doing. So in this red wire, we want to make a cylinder of this wire. And so I have this marker you can use. You could try something as small as this pen, something more like the diameter of maybe a dime. So this is maybe a little bit big. You can try out different things, right? Those are good variables to look at. But I'm just going to wrap this around. And when you wrap it around, the idea is you leave a little bit on either side of your of the wrapping. So I'm just going to take this and wrap it. I'm just going to do it a couple times. You actually want to go about 8 to 10 times around. This is not a long enough piece because I cut it off my other one, but I'll just do 4. But you want to do that about 8 times. So you're going to have this loop. Take this off. You want to have this loop of wire, kind of like that. And you're going to take that loop and this is where kind of the careful working with it is going to make this work better. And you'll see mine isn't even perfect. I could probably even make it better if I tried it again. But once you get that, you're going to take this wire and you want to kind of wrap it around. So I kind of wrapped one in there and create a sealed. So I'm taking this piece. I can't know if you see this here. You see it kind of wraps in there, not the greatest focus, but you kind of wrap it through to hold the wire together so that you kind of make this little, and I'll do it a couple more times over here. So you want to make something that looks kind of like this. Okay, so wires on both ends, a coil around the middle, and then you've got wire sticking out. Now, this wire sticking out this is the tricky part. So first of all, you want this to, a good way to test how well this is going to work is just kind of put it between your fingers and see if you can somewhat spin it freely where each side is relatively straight out 180 degrees from each other. Right? If you're bent like this and you try to spin it, you're going to get this big, it doesn't spin very well. So you can make your own wire. You can change it so it should spin relatively freely. Even that probably this won't spin as well as it could, but this is pretty decent. So next part, you're going to need this little piece of sandpaper that I included in that bag as well. The sandpaper is going to be what you need, and it's carefully follow this instruction for either side because they're a little bit different. On one side of the wire, and I actually did this on this one already, but I'll show you how to do it. On one side of the wire, you want to remove that red plastic on just one side. Like you don't want to get the whole thing clear of it, just one half of the wire. The other video has a little nice little animation of it, but this kind of shows you. I'm going to show the camera what I did. I just found this plate that I used, and so I put it flat against the plate, right? And then I kind of rub this on top of it. So this is just going to clear off. It's hard to see in this camera, but you're gonna see the copper color on top, and you're gonna see the red wire still in the bottom, or the red plastic on the bottom. You want to see 2 different colors in the same part of the wire. It's important that one half still does have that red covering on it. The other side, you want to completely remove the the red covering. So you just take this and kind of, different angles. You can put it against the plate as well, but you kind of want to pull this along the side, and you're going to get a wire like this that's pretty clear of the plastic. So now you have, on one side's totally clear, one side has half of it done, and this should then be the necessary part you need for your motor to work, that part. Second thing you're going to create is something like this. Here's one where you might have to do a little bit of troubleshooting with the kit. So the kit should have come with 2 or 3 paper clips. I've already bent these ones here, but your paper clips might have been kind of rusted from the vinegar. Vinegar actually does a great job, acids, of rusting things. So you can still use them. You might have to brush them off a bit, kind of clean them off maybe with a wire brush. If you have other paper clips to use, that would be better than these, but these should still be able to work. Again, troubleshooting and learning is trying to figure out what things might not. If this doesn't work, that might be one of the things that comes into play. But you're going to want to tape them to the ends of your battery. You can use regular tape. I found some electrical tape, which you might have in your parents' like utility cabinet, or if they have like a toolbox or something like that. It's pretty easy tape to find. If you go like at the dollar store, you can get like 2 or 3 rolls for $1. But regular tape should work. You just want to connect these, and these are going to be the leads to your battery. So this battery is a producer of current. It produces electrons that can be sent through conductors, and so either side, if you connect them, are going to be able to flow through these wires, because these paper clips are made up of probably iron, might be aluminum, doesn't really matter. Both of them will conduct just fine. So one way to do this, if I have anything more here to show you, if you take one of them here and you just take the ends and kind of, all I did was twist it. So take kind of the big and little like this and just twist it up. Okay. You can do other formations, but the nice thing about this is it creates that little hole in the middle, and that's the hole that you can then place your wire. And if you place them pretty evenly across, it'll be the right spot for you to do this. So now you want to place yours in there. Place your wire. This is a different one I made before. Actually, let's try the one that I made now. Let's see if that one works. I don't even know. This one did, but we'll try it out. It's okay if it doesn't right away. My first attempt did not, and that's when I switched out the paper clips. So I'm going to put this in here like this. And again, you want it to kind of be able to freely, I'm going to kind of adjust it a little bit here. You can bend the paper clips. That's okay to bend them as long as they still touch the battery. And you want it, again, to be able to spin freely in there. So you can adjust that as you go. If it's not working as expected, that might be one thing that's going on. Last thing you want to do is take your magnet. This is the other important key to have, is because now there is the potential of electricity flowing through this wire, going around in loops and coming back through. So it's able to create this circuit that electrons can flow through this motor, except for when one of these wires only has half of it covered up. When that plastic covering goes there, that stops the flow of electricity for a little while, and that helps to create this motor. And we'll save some of the details for later. So if you put this magnet right on top of the battery, right beneath your spinning coil, or has not spinning yet, you should now, and this one didn't have as many coils, so we'll see if it works as well. I'll put another video to the one I made earlier, but you should then, once you start spinning it, be able to get it going. Now this is the tricky part. I had to, this one looks like it's either, I'm looking at a couple things. One, the wire's not super even, and so it might not spin. You might spin it a little bit to get started, and it might not keep going. But let's try this. I'm going to put the other one in because I spent a little more time making that more carefully. And we'll see if we can get this one to go on camera. I do have the same one on earlier recording showing you it's not perfect, but you should be able to get it to go. So as I do that here. Okay, so I'm not adding it. It's still spinning. Now I might stop because this wire starts to bend, and then it has to... this is going pretty well for a first try here. We'll see if it ever stops, and I'll show you what you might see. Now this is going pretty well. If it does, you notice it kind of slows down, then it's picked up again. As it starts to bend a little bit more, it will, and I'll just, you see it right there, almost stopping. you see it kind of fluttering back and forth. It's kind of, it's creating an electric and magnetic field that it's kind of oscillating in. And if you're able to, as it doesn't spin fast enough, it can't restart that connection. So right now it's resting on the plastic piece over here. There is no current flowing through there. So by starting and twisting, you're allowing the current to start again and to keep it going. So this is a version, this is what many things with a motor do, is they pass a current through a lot of wire, and that helps to spin, like in a magnet, and helps to spin and keep that thing spinning. And so as long as you have current from our battery, it will continue to spin. And again, my design, you can keep playing around with it. In theory, it should be able to keep going as long as there is current in there. I wanted to show you just one thing here. This is a longer video for today, but this guy, so you might be asking, what in the world is this giant thing that Mr. Thompson has and saved in his basement? This is from a dryer that didn't work anymore, but as I like to do sometimes is to take things apart and see what they're made of. Don't always know what all the parts are for sure. I'm not an engineer, but I did notice one of the main things of a dryer is one, to provide heat, but it also tumbles and spins it around so that it gets evenly heated. And you'll notice in here, you've got just a long, this is the same kind of idea, a huge bunch of copper wire all wound around here in order to help create, and this doesn't spin because I've got this big piece over here, but it's not connected to current, but this is what helps to create the spinning of the dryer. So you'll see that in anything that has a spinning motor, even in small toys that are spinning around, you'll find some coil of wire like this, and a magnet that you can take out as well. So that's the first one. It's going to be tricky. Again, this is a great example. I'd love to see videos of you getting it to work, because it's going to take some time to get this to make a nice even circle like this. If it's not working, you might have too many winds around. It might be a little bit too heavy to spin with the type of magnet that I gave you. You might have it, and you can. And if it does work, try it again. Try to undo the wire and maybe make it around a smaller diameter, maybe more like this pen. So those are some things you can try out in that as well. So this one might take the whole time. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. But I'll put a couple others as well that you can check out, or at least start today and then look at over the next couple of days.